Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's important that we also keep educating ourselves about our roles. The role of the leader of the opposition is to keep the government in check. I just thought I should educate my colleague. Back to the issue I was raising, Right Honorable Speaker. Government has been pushing us to rationalize. The justification being to cut down on government expenditure. And like I was saying, that's a compelling argument. But while we are rationalizing to save taxpayers' money, to cut down on government expenditure, here then comes another huge government expenditure that we need to understand, because you cannot preach water and then drink wine. What do I mean? You cannot say, let's rationalize, let's cut down on government expenditure. In the same breath, you are bringing in new people within the system that have got to be paid by the taxpayer. What sense does it make, Right Honorable Speaker? What role are the assistant RDCs going to play that RDCs and deputy RDCs cannot play? We need to have a good understanding of that, Right Honorable Speaker. The Minister for the Presidency has said in her communication that the assistant RDCs are going to play 3 roles. Number 1 is to promote patriotism. Number 2 is to carry out mobilization. And number 3, to fight corruption. We need to be helped to understand whether now assistant RDCs are taking over the work of the Inspectorate of Government, because there seems to be a lot of duplication. Also, if you're saying they are meant to carry out mobilization, for what exactly? Is it mobilization for the NRM, mobilization for Parliament, mobilization for what exactly? This needs to be broken down. And finally, Right Honorable Speaker, when you read Section 70 of the Local Governments Act, it provides for the caliber of people that should be appointed RDC. That's the legal provision. But by extension, we can cascade that down to anybody occupying or within the office of the RDC. Section 70 provides that these are meant to be people of high moral integrity, people whose conduct is not questionable. One of the people that have been appointed to this position, which we are yet to fully understand as assistant RDC, is KISAKYAMUKAMA. This person has been posted as assistant RDC to Gomba district. Honorable Speaker, in 2021, videos made rounds of this person.
Honorable LOP, just a minute. You're raising a very, very important point. Very important point. But I want ask the government chief whip to, we have so many ministers under that docket. I don't want him to involve himself. Let him call for us, the minister involved. Because you're going to repeat the same thing. You're going to repeat the same thing. You wait and you bring it as it is, even if it is in the middle of the debate. Even if we are at business committee, you'll repeat your issue. It's a very important point that should be noted. Government.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Leader of Opposition for raising this matter where he's seeking clarity. And he states in clear terms that his role is to keep the government in check. But our role in government is also to sustain our stay through the support of the people of Uganda. That said, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to request your chair to give time to the Minister for the Presidency to come and provide clarification on the appointment of the Assistant Resident District Commissioners and Assistant Resident City Commissioners, their roles and responsibilities, and why the National Resistance Movement government thought it wise that we need to empower more those offices that do exist in our districts and in our cities. I beg to request that you give our time, and in the circumstances, we could proceed with the items on the order paper. If that pleases you, you could give the appropriate time for her to come and explain. Thank you.
Can you, Honorable Government Chief Whip, can you first try to call her up, and then you tell us her availability before we decide to give her time.
Madam Speaker, I just wanted to make a comment on what the LOP has said, but also the House, to keep reflecting on this particular issue. When we sit as the House and approve the budget, approve these items, because I remember in this budget, we approved money for assistant RDCs. We approved it in the budget, and the minister has taken action. And then we come back, no, this financial year where we are, which is ending in June, yes, and then the government takes action. And then you come back as if you are not involved. You were involved in approving this position.
Let's get a report to that effect, Honorable. Let's get to know if it is true that the money was approved, how much money was approved, and it still brings you to the caliber of the people that the leader of opposition is talking about. Do you bring in this kind of RDCs who just go on rampage, like the one of, I don't want to mention the name, do you bring in those kind of RDCs and that kind of thing? So let's get a paper to that effect. Get a paper to that effect. If we approved the money and the criteria, and yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable. Of course, I want to agree with the minister that I remember we approved the money. The major issue is, like any civil servants and public officers, they need serious scrutiny and to go through the process. Now, if you look through, even in the qualifications, there's no specific qualification for an RDC. And that, of course, leaves it hanging for anyone. Yes, I'm saying it's up to us now. It's part of what we should focus on, to develop some of those roles that govern the process of even appointing RDCs. You should be
Honorable members,
yes.
I have already made a ruling to that effect. Let's come with a paper to show that this amount of money was appropriated for recruitment of deputy RDCs, and this is the criteria, and these are the requirements of a person. You cannot pick somebody just from nowhere to come and claim to be an RDC when a person has a bad track record. So these people, they must do a due diligence on that.
Right Honorable, so just to get quick guidance from you.
Procedure matter first.
Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable. Right Honorable, it's good that you have ruled we shall receive a report from the minister, but we request that as the whip talks to the minister to bring the report, already we have challenges with some of these other existing people because they need to go through the right channel. We have got these experiences like Anderson of Lubaga. Everybody has read what he has been writing and his arrogance and how he has handled. That shows the type of people that we have been having. Now, if we have been having the type of Anderson existing, the current that they have appointed, Right Honorable, the current ones, I have an example of one who didn't even go to school at all, but is also posing as the assistant. So this is where we are going. So we request that as the minister comes with his report, let him also show us those people he's appointing and their qualifications.
Honorable members, just finish up. I have made a ruling to that effect.
Yeah, I just wanted you to guide further, right,
For
Honorable
me,
Speaker.
it's not about education, but the character of a person.
Very important, right, Honorable, the character, because we can't have people who are occupying public offices, earning from the consolidated fund, they address in public, hurl insults at people and traditional leaders like this eager person. It's unacceptable. Right, Honorable Speaker, if you could guide further, because you had asked the government chief
but I
whip.
want to refer you to Article 203, Resident District Commissioner. There shall be each district a resident district commissioner who shall be appointed by the president. For a person to be appointed as a resident district commissioner, he or she shall be a citizen of Uganda and qualified to be a member of parliament, an equivalent of a member of parliament, and that is merely just S6. The functions of a resident commissioner are, you'll see from there. But what is paramount is that you should qualify to be a member of parliament.
Thank you, Right Honorable, for that pointer. So there is clear yardsticks, academically, character, morality, and all of that. Right Honorable, you had asked the government chief whip to step out and establish the availability of the minister, but then there is also the paper that should be presented to Parliament.
And we should avoid this aspect of somebody working in the district where he is born. Somebody working in a district where he is born. Because that's how they start fighting in the sitting leadership. Next item. I am going to get a paper to that effect, and we are going to scrutinize. Next item.
Item 3.
You know, I'm even losing my voice, Mukatulik.
As the other minister comes, whether to be procedure okay, also to invite the Minister of Works here. Madam Speaker, Masaka Road broke down. And this road, there is a lot of challenge along this road. And Madam Speaker, they worked on the bridge of Katonga, but ever since they put a provision, they are not doing anything ever since then. It is also sinking day by day. But what is happening, people are suffering. Most of this road, most of the parts of this road are breaking day by day, but UNRWA is not doing very well.
Let's discuss that when we are discussing the rationalization of UNRWA.
Yeah, but Madam Speaker,
which will be by around midday. We shall discuss that, and you may not put all the blame on UNRWA because the money has to be released. They cannot do more than what they can. Honourable Minister, when will the Minister bring a report?
Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister for the Presidency has requested that the Ministry be allotted space tomorrow on the order paper for them to come and brief Parliament on the appointment of the Assistant Resident District and City Commissioners. So the Ministry for Presidency will brief the House with your affirmation tomorrow.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 3. Bill secondary.
Olunaku lwa leero nina ensonga gye neemulugunyizaako mu Paliamenti. Minisita owa Presidency ow'ekitiibwa Milly Babalanda yagenze n'afulumya communication nti baawadde emirimu abantu 3 be baayise ba assistant RDCs. Kakati ffe tugamba ensonga eyo yazze etya kubanga already tulina ba RDCs, tulina ba deputy RDCs buli district. Abantu abo bangi already era n'emirimu gye bakola tegitegeerekeka. Oluusi obasanga ku zi political talk shows nga bali eyo bakubira akadingidi NRM. Juzi abamu babadde be batambuza registers za NRM kweganja emirimu gye basinga okukola RDC ne deputy RDCs. Kakati oyongeddeko abantu babiri mu buli district boyise assistant RDCs bagenda kukola ki? Yatugambye nti abantu abo okusookera ddala bagenda kukola mirimu gya patriotism, bagenda kukola mobilization, then n'okulwanyisa obuli bw'enguzi. Kati twebuuza mobilization yaki eyo ya NRM yaki, kubanga abantu bano bagenda sasulibwa sente ya muwomusolo. Tebayinza kubanga bakola mirimu gya NRM ate nga basasulibwa sente ya muwomusolo nga ba civil servant. Ekyo tekikirizibwa ne mateeka. Era mulaba n'abantu be balonze bakaada abana ba NRM ababeera ku zi radio station naki nga bakubira NRM ekikopo, mubafuule ba volunteers ku kitebe kyamwe kya NRM. Naye kakati mubatadde mu structures za civil servants tekitegeerekeka era nga tekikkirizibwa. Era government ezze tukakasa wano mu parliament nti ensonga ya rationalization ebitongole bino ebisinga tubiggalewo tubizze mu ministries gye biva. Ku lwaki okendeeza ku nkozesa era n'ensaasanya ssente y'omusolo. Kakati oli mutugamba oyagala kendeeza ensaasaanya eyo ate mu bufuwe bumu otaddewo ebifo ebiyitirivu, ebifo 3. Abantu abalina okufuna omusaala buli omu balina n'okufuna amamotoka nga bwe tulaba bakolera ba RDC ne ba deputy, lumu ne bamuwa pick-up truck naki. Kati oba obuzaabuza bannayuganda ekitegeeza toli serious ku nsonga zino. Ate n'ekirala abantu abamu be balonze ku bifo bino bw'otunuulira amateeka gagamba nti omuntu alondebwa ku kifo ky'obwa RDC ayina kuba muntu okusookera ddala nga mwesimbu, ayina okuba n'ebisaanyizo naye nga muntu wa mpisa nga mwesimbu nga bwe kiri stipulated bw'osoma mu Local Governments Act akawaayiro 7. Naye ate kaakati tulaba baataddemu abantu abamu, mulimu omu bamuyita yiga KISAKYAMUKAMA. Omuntu ono twalaba yafulumya akatambi ebbanga eriyise neeyambula yina n'akunama, omuntu omukulu n'akunama ng'avuma obwakabaka bwa Buganda, ng'avuma Abaganda n'abantu abalala b'enjawulo. Kakati omuntu ono mumutadde mu structure eya civil servants, mumuwadde ekifo eyasiiwuuka empisa bw'ati. In fact omuntu ono either ayina kutwalibwa mu ddwaliro ebutabika ng'ayina ekizibu oba ayina actually kubibwa mu mbuga z'amateeka kubanga kyakola kimenya buli teeka. Naye ate kaakati mumuliwaadinze mumuwadde ekifo kino ekitategeerekeka. So ebyo byonna tubiwakanya, naye okusingira ddala nti abantu bano tebalina nakubeera, ebifo bino tebirina nakubeerawo. In fact n'ekifo ky'obwa RDC ne deputy RDC already bakola emirimu egya district chairperson, egya DPC naki, naye ate kaakati obongeddeko abalala tukiwakanya, tetukkiriziganya nakyo. Of course Mwami Museveni yatugamba dda ng'eggwanga nti okusookera ddala kabineeti ye y'abavubi n'abantu be bayingiza tebabifaako nnyo. Oba oli yasiiwuukadde empisa, oba oli akwata abaana ku kyalo abba enkoko z'abantu naki, mujja basanga nga bali mu system eza gavumenti. Naye ffe kitukakatako okuva ne tugamba nti kikyamu wakiri kibeere ku record. Era n'abantu bano be bateekamu tebateekamu nti balina ekyamaanyi ennyo kye bagenda okugatta ku ggwanga lyaffe. Bano ba mobilizers aba NRM aba Mwami Museveni era kyovudula babateeka mu system. Era abasinga abatadde mu districts either ze bagenda okwesimba obanga ababaka oba gye bazze bakolera emirimu gya NRM n'ebirala y'ensonga lwaki bakikola. So ffe tukiwakanya olw'ensonga ezo zonna.
One, on the certificate of financial implications, the Deputy Attorney General earlier on was responding to our colleague, the Youth MP. Honorable Deputy Attorney General, you did not with specificity respond to the question of the certificate of financial implication. You responded generally because the issues are very specific on the amount, because figures are figures, yeah? So maybe you need to compose yourself and respond because you did not, you spoke very generally, not specifically to the question. Number 2, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm actually a little bit alarmed that government is saying that part of the reason there's been challenges with planning is because these entities are in different locations, so they are not in sync. That has alarmed me because I did hear that from the Honorable Kasolo, that now that they get to be under one roof, they will be listening to each other a lot more. I would expect a different and even better reason. You know, all the while, as I have been saying, the compelling argument has been on cutting down government expenditure. But now if you're saying that, you see, they are not listening to each other because they're in different locations, then you need to be better organized as government. That would mean for me that even under one roof, there will still be challenges. You will say, You see, this is a desk on 3rd floor, the other one is a desk on 1st floor. I think let's be a lot more compelling in our arguments. We want to cut down on government expenditure, yes. But we want to make sure there is efficiency. And that efficiency question is not coming through properly, Honorable Kasolo. And that's why some members are saying, wait a minute, can we be convinced properly? Because there's physical planning board here, there's population council, there's national planning authority. In the ideal situation, I want to see how we lessen all government expenditure. I want to see how instead of having 80 plus ministers, we have 10. In the ideal. Because then you're cutting down and then ensuring efficiency. So that's something that you, colleagues on the front bench, are not addressing, and yet you need to address it and convince members realistically.
And to cut expenditure. But there are some things, Madam Speaker, that cannot be put together just for the sake of it. For example, even if we are to combine ministries, we would not put the Ministry of Education under energy. Madam Speaker, fiscal planning is a function that involves day-to-day activities that run up to local authorities. I want to know, this National Planning Authority under the Ministry of Finance, how it will be able to supervise and monitor activities of physical planning that run up to local physical planning authorities, Madam Speaker.
I am not standing over. When you look at the financial implication for Fiscal Planning Amendment Bill 2024, the figures are here. The non-wage recurrent is 4.5 billion. Are we together? This is what is going to the parent ministry, NPA. Then, when you look at the National Population Council Act, what is also going to NPA? The figures are 11.92 billion. Also going to the parent. Now, I don't see where the argument is coming from, unless if you wanted just these same figures to be copied, Chairman, you have something, and then Minister of Defense.
Yes, right House that requested for individual certificates for entities being merged. And Right Honorable Speaker, you've rightly put it. The entities that are being merged are those that have financial certificates of financial implication. The other one is just on the receiving end, and there's no change. Yes.
Right Honorable Person of the committee to clarify the following. Under Rule 118, taken from the PFMA, the certificate of financial implication issued under Sub-Rule 1 shall indicate the estimates of revenue and expenditure over the period of not less than 2 years after coming into effect of the bill. Would the chairperson tell us the figures, the revenue estimates, and also the expenditure estimates, since he has examined that certificate? And if he does that, then we can then proceed. Would the chairperson or any of the members of the front bench come and tell us those estimates? And these estimates are figures as provided for in the law. And from the Attorney General, I wanted this clarification from you. By practice, the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General are senior members who should guide the House. Where there is a breach of law, the Attorney General cannot be seen to be siding with the violation of the law. And I invite the Deputy Attorney General to at this time become the Attorney General of this country, and having recognized that there is a problem with this, he should actually be conceding.
Madam Chair,
Sorry, Right Honourable Speaker, I've listened to Odur.
Honorable Odur.
Honourable Odur. You do not expect me to concede unless I'm convinced. We have 3 certificates that must be read together. And the 2 certificates have given the figures. And like the Speaker has read, the certificate of financial...
First of all, before you read them, under the fiscal planning, the saving that will be made, remember it is the fiscal planning that is making a saving. The saving that will be made will be the 4.54 if you took this to the National Planning Authority. And I'm reading according to the documents. Then under the National Population Council, when you repeal that, you're making a saving of 11.9, which will be transferred to the NPA. Now, here brings in law and accounting. When there is a debit this side, there should be an equal credit. Moses, not so. Moses, yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, for Population Council, it is indicated 11.92. I have with me the Certificate of Financial Implications for the National Planning Authority. And number 3, subtitle, Funding and Budgetary Implications. There will also be costs expected from absorption of functions performed by the National Population Council and National Physical Planning Board into the structures for National Planning Authority. What are those costs, Deputy Attorney General? Because you mentioned them, and this is a certificate signed by the Honorable Matia Kasaija, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. In the other, you've given us a breakdown. But in this one, you've just given us a heading. What are the costs? Because you're conceding that there will be costs expected from the absorption. What are which ones? There are figures.
I just want to illustrate this in a very simple way. If you're carrying one exercise book there with you, and I'm going to give you the 2 that I have, okay? That's the additional weight that will come to you. So that's the cost that will actually arise. That will the cost that will be there for NPA. The cost that is transferred from these other entities that are brought to them. That's the simplistic way I could illustrate it. Yeah, thank you.
Within these 2 entities which are being rationalized, will be absorbed by the National Planning Authority. That's the assumption we have. And they will go with salary-related costs, which are personal. However, institutions have non-salary-related costs. If you're having 2 institutions, issues like rent, issues like internet, issues like electricity, issues like water, as issues you would actually save if you integrate the 2 institutions. Therefore, we believe, or we are sure that staff who are technical from the Physical Planning Authority and the National Population Council will be absorbed to take the expertise to National Planning Authority. However, the non-technical staff who may be lost, that's the administrative staff who may be lost. They may be lost and some costs will be incurred. However, the non-personal costs which I have mentioned will be saved. And I think for that matter, we shall be making a big saving while consolidating and integrating the planning. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity. The Attorney General has admitted, Right Honourable Speaker, that there are 3 certificates of financial implication. 2 certificates
indicate the anticipated revenue and expenditure. The third certificate does not. And that is the defect we are talking about. I'll wait. The attention of the chair.
Thank you for Honorable Livingston. Right,
This is a legal question, Buzaya. Comers will come later.
I am giving you information.
I don't want your information. It's me to allow the information.
Okay, give
Thank
it's
you,
me
Right
to allow
Honorable
the
Speaker.
information. I have not even submitted. What are you informing me about?
Order. Honorable members have not given anybody the microphone. We have not given anybody the microphone.
Order. Order, right.
Honorable members, can you sit? Can we hear from LOP?
This house is a legislative house, and it's important that as we make laws, we follow the law. That's very important. Otherwise, we shall look shabby. People are taking us to court over procedural issues, over legal matters. The defect there is with the certificate of financial implication of NPA, as I have stated. You are not alluding to the figure. In the other ones, you are clarifying properly. So for Population Council, you've given us a figure which is going to be saved, 11.9 billion. Okay, granted. Maybe on another day we can interrogate how you did come to that, but want to take it as it is. For Physical Planning Board, you've given us a figure, 4.5 billion shillings to being saved. What you're saying is that those savings will offset the costs of the NPA. And now we are saying, what are those costs? Can they be adumbrated too? That's something we must cure. We must find a cure to that, because it's a legal question. It's not just a political one, yeah? It's a legal one. As you have indicated what's to be saved the other side, here you're mentioning this is going to be, okay.
Thank you.